I gave Undermine patch 11.1 a chance, and boy howdy did Blizzard throw a goblin-sized wrench at us with this patch. I am diving into the new zone, I'm sharing with you all my thoughts on the Undermine, I'm tearing around in a drive hot rod, unraveling a story with Gallywix and some void shenanigans, poking through fresh delves and hitting up a new dungeon. I'm gonna be real with you guys, like, I'm not the biggest goblin fan, many of you guys are fully aware of that, so hopefully there is something down in Goblin Town that is so good, it's gonna win me over. Stick around because I'm about to share with you all my thoughts, both the good and the bad, on all the features of this new patch, and answer the question of whether or not Undermined is worth the hype or just a giant pile of garbage. But first, we have to thank this channel's sponsor, Zygor. If you want World of Warcraft's Ultimate Guide add-on recently updated for patch 11.1, they are linked down below in the description. Use it for leveling your alts, making some gold, or just progressing through all the new content. Zygor is there to help with anything you guys need, and you can use code Nixxiom for 20% off. Let's start this video off by talking about Undermine, the zone. All right, guys, we finally got Undermine, all right? This is something that's been hyped up in the lore for many years, and Blizzard has gone all in on this goblin capital, and I gotta admit, they have built something that is, well, like it's a vibe, okay? Picture this, a sprawling city where every corner is dripping with detail. Bizarre fish bowls sitting on tables, goblin clubhouses packed with dancers shaking it like they're auditioning for Goblin Idol, lounges where you can practically smell the cigar smoke. It's got character, man. It's got character, more personality than half the zones in Azeroth combined, I must say. There is even a sewer system underneath it all that you can discover, sloshing with garbage and goblin charm, because of course there is. I mean, it's Undermine. You can grab food and drinks from the vendors, and you can even hold them in your hands and walk around with them and stuff. Little touches like that make you go like, wow, that's kind of neat. Now, if you're one of those dudes that you got a goblin tattoo because you just can't get enough, I'm telling you guys, like, this is your zone. Blizzard clearly had a blast designing Undermine, and it shows. Like, and I mean it shows everywhere. Undermine is just packed full of goblin-inspired detail. My favorite bit, the sky, dude. Look up. It is a giant fake dome with wooden clouds and a wooden sun. Like the goblins hired a carpenter with a god complex, right? Did I just make a Jesus joke by accident? Then you peek around and the trees and the bushes are all just steel beams and planks painted green. Hilarious, creative, and so goblin that it hurts. I'm not even a goblin guy, right? But it sucked me in. And why? Because it's fun, dude. It's fun to look at, like a theme park ride that you didn't expect to enjoy. And that's cool. It's not just the goblins either populating the Undermine. I don't think it's just all goblins running around. You got hobgoblins lumbering around like bouncers, orcs and trolls haggling in the alleyways, even tortolans getting pawned out of their shells. It's diverse for a goblin run joint. Undermine feels alive, like a real city. You got mines and alchemy labs where folks go to work, a beach, a golf course for kicking back. Yes, a goblin golf course, because why not? And the Galagio building. This swanky ass cartel HQ where the big wigs scheme over their gold piles. It has got the lived in buzz that I crave in an MMO. Like, you can just get lost in here, dude. I only wish, admittingly, that the zone was bigger, personally. And the music, dude, you guys have probably heard the hype about the music, and it's real. The composers went, like, I don't even, just listen to how good this soundtrack is. Down to Goblin Town, down to Goblin Town, down to Goblin Town. You go, my lad, ho ho, my lad. It's so good, dude. At one point, I even found myself pressing my hotkeys in rhythm to the music as it was playing. It's just a really solid soundtrack. Like, even for someone like myself who admittingly wasn't too excited for this patch, I mean, it's a big delight. It's a feast for the eyes. I'm sitting here thinking, Blizzard, you really nailed a big, gorgeous, trash-filled sandbox. It's just a huge win in terms of the new zone, except for one thing, you know, one big thing, which I think you'll understand once I make my second point. Let us talk about Drive, the Goblin Hot Rods. So in Undermined, Blizzard has tossed to us a shiny new toy called drive. And oh boy, it's a car, and this thing is fast as hell. I want you to picture a goblin engineered hot rod tearing through the Undermine, drifting around corners like you're auditioning for the Fast and Frickin' Furious. I'm talking speed. Like, damn. Tight turns in this goblin cesspit, dude, they don't stand a chance when you're sliding around all sideways like a pro, unless you're me, of course. Because spoiler, I suck at the drive system. Look at this. Okay, that's me, you know, stuck on your screen. I'm terrible. I admit it, dude. My drive skills are a war crime, okay? And I've got the dents to prove it. But let's back up. The thing's got something great going for it. You got a fuel meter smack dab in the middle of your screen, kind of hard to miss. You power it up by snagging Kaja Cola cans scattered around Undermine. You chug that sweet, delicious, fizzy goblin juice, and dude, you're going so fast that you would make a No radio like that old Cataclysm Goblin starter card though. That's a missed opportunity, Blizzard. But if you take on delivery quests in this game, you unlock this unique set of musical tracks that are heard nowhere else in the zone. It's jazzy, it's bouncy, it's goblin as hell. Almost makes you forget that you're just hauling crates of who knows what and delivering packages like a delivery boy. And the customization. Yeah, they give us customization. You can trick out your drive with new color schemes. Give me that blood red paint, dude, that makes me want to go wag. That's a Warhammer 40K joke. New engines, new wheels, the works. Some wheels grip tighter for drifting. Some engines crank your acceleration to ludicrous levels. Others, well, they're slower, but maybe you're just into that chill, you know, Undermine vibe. You don't want to be tearing through all this stuff so quick. Whatever gets your motor running, guys. Like, look, I thought that them giving us this drive system was awesome since we can't fly around in the Undermine, and the fact that we got customization is really cool. Why can't we fly around in the Undermine? Does it make sense story-wise? No, but I mean, who cares? You know, I guess our mounts just forgot how to fly, but we got a freaking car. All right, and that's what, and that makes up for it, I guess. It's really great. I love the system. It's fast, it's flashy, it's Goblin Chaos, dudes, like distilled into a V8 engine. The only thing though is I would kill to see this thing roll out into the open world. Imagine tearing through the frickin' barrens, kicking up dust, no buildings to ruin your day. And that is where I have to share my only big con with not just this feature, but I guess like Undermine as a zone. It's too damn small. The city is a cluttered mess. There's buildings and poles and signs and all this crap everywhere. And the car is so fast that you basically are just begging to crash every 10 feet. Now, I'm not saying it's like terrible or something. It's just you can't go all out with this thing for more than like a second or two. So it's like this amazing feature stuck in a zone that feels like a kiddie pool when it deserves an ocean. Blizzard, please expand this. Like, give me Duratar, like, you know, no goblin back alleyways. Like, I want to cut loose in the barrens without, you know, eating a lamppost every drift. You know, that's just my only big con, I suppose. Let's talk about the story. So what's the story in Undermine? Well, patch 11.1 has got a tail to spin, and I'm just gonna quickly unpack it for you guys, so buckle up for a little bit of a roller coaster. So it all kicks off in the Ringing Deeps, where you have a ton of login issues just like I do. But once you're able to get past all that crap, you catch the goblins outside of the Undermine messing with the black blood of Azeroth, which is some shady goo that they're cooking up for who knows what. The trail, it leads you down into Undermine, and surprise! Gallywix is up to his greasy neck in no good nonsense. You roll into town and bam, you're forced to pick a side. You gotta join one of the 4 cartels because you need some green goons watching your back in this cesspit. And then you meet the Dark Fuse enforcement group, Gallywix's personal thug squad, strutting around like they own the place from his Galagio throne. It's classic gangster-inspired power trip. It's like playing Grand Theft Auto, or Sly Cooper, as some people have said. Anyway, it turns out Gallywix is shacking it up with Xalatath, you know, our favorite pair of feet with an elf attached, and he is using his goblin gold mine to fix the Dark Heart, which is that busted artifact that Ilaria smashed in the Narubar Palace, or however you pronounce it. Narubar. Whatever. Naturally, we gotta stop all this before Xalatath gets her mitts on a fully juiced up relic. Sounds good, it's easy to follow along, it's simple and effective storytelling. Along the way though, you got some buddies tagging along on your journey. You got Gazlo, the Bilgewater boss, and the Horde Goblin Bigwig, Renzik from SI7 sneaking around like a budget rogue. Got Noggin Fogger and Revelgaz, like all these goblin OGs from Vanilla WoW. For those of you guys that have been playing since 2004, like I already said it in this video, and I'm gonna say it a few more times, but if you're a big fan of goblin lore, like this is your patch, dude. Like Undermine is a treasure trove of green chaos, and Blizzard is clearly flexing their goblin love with this patch, and it really shows. Now, I won't spoil where it all goes. Let's just say that Gallywix's grip on Undermine is not as tight as his wallet suggests, and Gazlo, well, he's not really sold on this dump at first. He doesn't really want to fight for Undermine because he sees it as a lost, corrupt cause, despite his friends arguing otherwise. And then some stuff happens, some big stuff, right? And that sort of flips his script, and suddenly he's like, whoa, like maybe this giant pile of trash is worth saving. So let me just say this. One of the reasons why I've never really liked goblins in World of Warcraft is I've always seen them as kind of one-dimensional. Like they're just kind of like a bunch of one-dimensional like gold grubbers. But something here really clicked for me, and it was Gazlo. Let me explain. You see, at first, like I fully admit, I actually really hated how they made Gazlo this good guy goblin, right? Like why do we have this stupid goblin caring about goblin kind instead of profit and making money? And I was ready to call this out in this video. Oh, here we have Blizzard throwing away years of lore of goblins only caring about money, being very selfish and self-serving and such. Now we suddenly have Blizzard fluffing up Gazlo into some sort of saint. But as I kept playing and, I chewed on this idea a bit, I realized this is actually really cool, and it's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying the patch so much. Because Gazlo is breaking that mold that always made me not really enjoy goblins so much in World of Warcraft in the first place, right? With Gazlo, Blizzard is here, like sneaking some real depth into like these coin-obsessed lunatics. Now, I'm not saying then I'm suddenly this big goblin fanboy. Like I'm not WoW Krendor, so calm down. But this story actually sucked me in. Like, and I was really not expecting that to happen. Like, not at all. Like, just between me and you guys, like, no. Anyway, so if Blizzard managed to sell this to me, like I can only imagine like how you guys are taking it. Like, it's probably blowing your minds, man. Especially Krendor, like Krendor loves goblins. So look, Undermine is not just your typical goblin story of, greed and gold. There's a little bit more depth to that. It's a goblin soap opera with cartel backstabbing and a Gazlo glow up that had me saying, okay, Blizzard, like you kind of got me here. The story, at least for me, is a big solid win so far. No shots of Xal'atath's feet though in the cutscenes with her. So, I mean, automatically that makes this a 1 out of 10 patch, but like whatever, I guess we'll keep going and talking about the new delves, I guess. All right, delves, patch 11.1 is dropping 3 big steamy fresh ones on us, and I've only scratched 2 so far. Excavation Site 9 and Side Street. There is a third, it's called Undermine's Demolition Coalition. I'll get to it soon enough, I promise, but I've just done 2 so far, and patch has already been out for a little while now, and I still haven't made this video. So anyway, I'll get to it soon. So let's break down what I've seen, because these little solo romps are a big chunk of Undermine's big deal. First of all, we have Excavation Site 9, which is tucked away deep in the Ringing Deeps. I want you to think corrupted Titan ruins, all twisted up with old god goodness. You're diving in, you're looting treasures, you're saving mind-broken goblins who've probably seen one too many void tentacles. It's good, messy, steaming fun. I was not expecting some Titan architecture buried down this far, in the Ringing Deeps. So stumbling into this like, super corrupted Uldaman, vibe from classic WoW, that was a total win. It felt like I was raiding some ancient crypt and not just poking around in some dumb cave. And then there's Side Street. Okay, it's straight out of Undermined sewers, where you're scurrying around and grabbing boxes of junk before scrapping with a big robot boss at the end. It is a lot of slime down there. It's a lot of electronics sparking, these electric zap traps that are there to, shock your boots off. There's teleporters, the works. You probably dig this one if you're really into goblin tech chaos. It's got that sewer rave gone wrong sort of energy, and I'm here for it. But between the two, Excavation 9 is definitely my pick, because I don't know, like, going through a bunch of ancient ruins looking for loot, it beats rummaging in a sewer any day. I mean, at least for me. Side Street is cool, don't get me wrong. I love, sliding my ass through all the slime and stuff, but it's less I'm on an epic quest and more of somehow I just got flushed down the toilet. But maybe I'm just a sucker for that Titan vibe. You know, I don't know. Now, here's the real kicker when it comes to delves, okay? This is what I really want to talk about. With patch 11.1, we got tank Brann Bronzebeard. The dude is a freaking monster when you flip him into tank mode. Usually delves, dude, they drag a little bit for me. Brann, you know, he's got his little healer gig going on and he just stands there throwing potions and, you know, my DPS, like, it's decent, but sometimes, you know, it's just like, it feels like the delves just drag on for a bit too long for my taste. But when you go to tank Brann, dude, it's like a whole new ball game. The dude's a freak. He's like yanking mobs with a grappling hook. He's summoning bears to claw faces off. It is freaking chaos, dude. And I love it. The dude has no fear. It's great. Delves in the War Within went from like, oh, you know, this is fun. Like, this is all right. It's cool. To like, whoa, this is one of my favorite pieces of content in patch 11.1. It's just doing delves with tank Bronzebeard. Blizzard, at least in my experience so far, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, at least in my experience so far, like, you guys nailed this. Like, it's a huge win. Like even if I am still side-eyeing, like, why am I, you know, fetching boxes down in a sewer instead of like saving Azeroth? But, you know, whatever. The new dungeon and the new raid, Operation Floodgate and Liberation of Undermine. So now let us swing over to the new dungeon and the raid in patch 11.1, starting with Operation Floodgate, the lone dungeon that we are getting. You're out in the ringing deeps again, you're stomping around this massive dam where Gallywix's dark fuse goons are meddling around. It's a big, semi-open world style dungeon, none of that cramped hallway nonsense, and you're sabotaging their plans, smacking crews of thugs around in big packs. Doesn't take too long, and I really love that there's this flying bit in it where you hop onto a goblin glider and you dive bomb your way down into the water part of the dungeon. It's a lot of fun. The boss fights, they're pretty good, you know, especially the finale. You blast your way into the dam, you stumble into this secret underground lab, you face off with some mad tech scientist. My favorite fight, though, was actually this giant plant monster that pops up when you first blow open the dam to like go into like the inner workings of what's inside. This freaking pissed off treebeard nature bouncer guy shows up and he's ready to turn your anus inside out for messing with the ringing deeps. Then there's even this random giant fish. That fish, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. And he crushes some goons on a walkway before you scrap with it. It's so dumb, it's so out of nowhere. I thought it was hilarious. It's silly fun like that sticks with you. Criticisms, you know, I don't really have much. It's a good time, but I am a little bit greedy, okay? You know, maybe I'm a little bit of a goblin at heart. You know, one dungeon is cool, but I would have killed for a second, okay? Maybe one using the drive cars, dude. Like racing through Undermine like a goblin Fast and the Furious. Like imagine like tearing around, drifting past trash mobs, chasing a boss in like a souped up Sportster, something wild like that we've never seen in World of Warcraft before, like a racing dungeon. But that's just me dreaming, man. You know, Operation Floodgate solid, it just leaves me a little bit hungry for more. And maybe that's actually a good thing. And then there's the raid, Liberation of Undermine. I have not done it yet as of the time of me recording this video. Life is busy, I got a kid on the way, I'll get to it soon. But here's the gist. Story-wise, we're storming Gallywix's cartel castle to kick him the hell out. We're freeing Undermine from his grubby claws. And from what I've heard, it is Blizzard's raid design at their best. And Blizzard is very clearly proud of it from all the behind-the-scenes stuff they keep putting out. It's a big Galagio showdown, cartel goons, maybe a goblin mech or two. Sounds like a big, you know, goblin-themed rave gone wrong, and I'm itching to dive in, so stay tuned for my take on the new raid down the road. So now let's talk about my conclusions. So Undermined patch 11.1 is a big goblin gamble. The zone itself, it is a chaotic masterpiece. It's gorgeous, it's detailed. It's a goblin fever dream with fake skies and sewer raves that sucked me in. Drive's a blast, it's fast, it's flashy, drifting around like a maniac, but it is crammed in Undermine's tiny streets when it deserves a big Baron's speedway, at least in my opinion, and I don't think I'm the only one thinking that. The story is pretty good. Gallywix and Xalatath are stirring the pot. Gazlowe is growing a soul, which for a goblin is kind of surprising for me. The patch is just overloaded with a ton of creativity. There is really little to complain about, at least for me so far. I'm having a really good time. Delves like Excavation 9, Side Street, they're solid. Titan Ruins, Sewer Scum, Tank Brann stealing the show as a bear summoning beast. Operation Floodgate, it's fun. Plant monsters, giant fish, loving it. I am greedy for a second dungeon though with some Drive Chaos. The raid, haven't done it yet, looks pretty good. Overall, Undermine has surprised me in a lot of ways. The only thing though, the only big con that I can say, all right, and this is such a small criticism and it's totally, unique to me. Most of you guys aren't gonna care. But the only thing that I don't like about this patch, about Undermine, is that it's an instanced island in World of Warcraft. It is not actually connected to the greater world. You can't fly down into Undermine from the Ringing Deeps, but instead you have to go through a loading screen. I am a really big open world fan when it comes to MMOs, so I just wish that maybe that was not the case. But that is just such a small thing, fellas. That is not meant to imply that I'm like, oh, like this is terrible. Like it's just, I wish it was more a part of the world than in its own little instance corner. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. If you want to support the channel, please consider checking out Coffeemancer Coffee, linked down below in the description. It's a little brew hustle that I've been doing on the side with a friend of mine because you'll need the caffeine kick for your raids. It's still a work in progress, like little coffee business, so there's still a lot to do, but you guys can be like the first people to kind of like check it out. Anyway, here's to hoping that one day Blizzard blesses us with being able to take our drive cars into the bigger world, because I seriously want to burn some rubber in some open zones like Barrens, Duratartanaris, whatever. Dude, I'm gonna geek out about that for a while. Thank you for watching, everybody. Stay cool, and I'll see you all in game.